至15節，新約聖經嘅第75頁，哥林多後書5章13至15節，新約聖經嘅275頁。如果我們癲狂是為上帝，如果我們清醒是為你們，原來基督的愛激勵我們，因我們這樣斷定，一人既替眾人死，眾人就都死了，並且他替眾人死，是叫那些活着的人不再為自己活，乃為替我們死而復活的主活。
Good morning, everybody.
早晨各位，
It's my pleasure to be here at the Kowloon Church.
今日好開心嚟到九龍教會同大家一齊崇拜。
I had heard of you because of a historic place that this church is.
我以前風聞到九龍教會，因為你哋嘅歷史地位，
So it's my pleasure to be here with you today.
所以今日好開心能夠同大家一齊。
Somebody had told me that this church was mostly older people.
因為我講呢個教堂咧大部分係上咗年紀嘅弟兄姊妹。
But I see a wide range of ages here today.
但我見到咧，其實唔同年齡嘅群都喺當中，
And that's a very good thing.
所以真係好啊！
And I'm glad to see a number of young adults here also.
我見到在座有年輕人，
And young professionals.
後年輕嘅才俊專業人士。
Thank you for the music and thank you choir for the music as well.
多謝今日音樂奉獻同埋詩班。
I think I was introduced, and so you know a little bit about me.
我諗咧正係有人介紹咗我啦，你都知道一啲關於我嘅事。
I'm always interested in working with young adults because I have taught at the university and graduate school for 24 years.
因為咧，我對年輕人特別有一份鍾愛，因為我已經有24年時間咧喺大學裏邊咧，我係教學生同埋一啲係畢業後嘅。
But I have worked for a number of years, basically as a trainer of evangelism.
但係我嘅工作主要係傳福音訓練、傳福音嘅工作。
And in the Adventist Church, this is across the world, typically evangelism is good for young people to come into the church.
喺福樂教會全球教會當中，傳福音係會吸引年青人加入教會嘅。
And one of the challenges is that older people do not come into the church because they are already too set in their habits and their ways.
年長人咧就冇咁容易加入教會，因為佢哋嘅習慣咧已經習慣咗啦。
But what we have experienced with our evangelism is that many older people come into the church.
但係我哋發覺咧，我哋好多年長嘅都加入我哋福林教會。
And this is very unusual.
呢個係非常之特別嘅地方。
One of the reasons is that older people do not depend so much on whether the preacher is funny or interesting or tells a lot of stories.
因為咧，其中一個原因可能係因為年長嘅人咧，佢對牧師講嘅嘢有冇趣味啊，或者有好多故事咧，唔係好在乎嘅。
Older people are interested in knowledge and they're interested in expertise.
年長人咧中意聽一啲關於佢哋一啲知識或者佢哋有興趣嘅專業嘅嘢。
And they tend to be more consistent coming to evangelistic meetings.
咁而咧，佢哋參加呢個佈道會動嘅時候咧，佢哋係比較更加恒常、穩陣嘅。
Over the last few years, we have seen scores of older people, people in their 60s, 70s, and even older, many professional older people, make a decision to become Seventh-day Adventists.
咁過往嚟講，我哋發覺咧，有啲人甚至60歲、70歲咧，佢都決定加入我哋福林教會。
I'm telling you this because I'm happy to see this wide range of ages here this morning.
我同你大家今日分享呢啲信息，係因為我今日見到唔同年齡群喺教會當中好開心。
And I believe that if this church decides to join with this project, you will see both young adults and all the range of people come and join you as members of this church.
咁教會已經決定咗咧係參加嚟緊呢個大佈道會，我哋好相信唔同嘅年齡群會入我哋教會當中。
Most of you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but we are planning here, and we began last month, a field school of evangelism in Hong Kong.
可能大部分嘅人都未必知道啦，我哋講嘅嘢，我哋喺1個月多前咧決定咗咧，我哋會喺香港開一個咧實習嘅傳福音嘅訓練嘅工作。
The headquarters church will be the Bible Auditorium Church.
總部咧會喺西南道聖經講座。
But we are inviting all other churches in Hong Kong, Macau to be a part of this project.
但係咧，我哋邀請大家，邀請唔同嘅各行咧，都參加呢個嘅我哋嘅呢個今次嘅佈道活動。
The union media services will be involved starting next month, and we will send live streaming training to all the churches starting at the end of this month.
聯會嘅影音事工部咧會用呢個係串流技術咧，會將所有嘅訓練咧係透過網絡咧係傳播出去俾各行。
So you could come to Bible Auditorium physically, or you could simply come here and see exactly what everybody else is seeing.
當然咧，大家可以親身去到聖經講座，或者係嚟到本堂，透過視像、透過網絡去知道呢個訓練嘅。
This is a project that will last almost 9 months, as you see there.
你會發覺咧，見到啦，會用9個月嘅時間去做呢個傳福音工作。
And it will end with evangelistic repeat meetings in late February and early March.
咁喺2月份嘅下旬或者3月嘅上旬咧，我哋有一個收割嘅佈道會。
But as you see, there are 6 major components to this project.
咁我有6個專項係要去做嘅。
The first one is organizational meetings.
首先咧係一個叫做組織會議
And that is where we are right now. You see the circle there in August?
你見到有啲圈裏面咁就係而家我哋呢個就係一個組織會議啦。
That's one of the reasons I'm here today.
所以今日咧同大家一齊咧都係呢個原因，組織會議。
I met with 3 groups yesterday, and we will meet with another church later today.
琴日我同3組人咧係見過面，咁下晝咧亦都同其他有唔同組別嘅人。
And this afternoon, you're invited to come to hear the entire story at 2 o'clock.
咁咧今日下午2鐘呢度本堂，我哋會如果你請大家嚟聽我哋整個我哋佈道工作嘅背景。
But not only to hear the entire project, but to ask questions.
唔單止係知道背景，亦都係咧歡迎大家去問問題嘅。
I would like you to ask questions, whatever is not clear, whatever you want to ask, so that we can understand better what God may want to do here.
我係好歡迎大家問題，你想問就得啦，因為咧知道點解我哋要開呢個佈道會嘅。
So we will explain all of this afternoon, and we will answer questions.
所以咧，我今日下晝會解釋呢度所有呢6項嘢，歡迎大家下晝嚟參加。
So come back at 2 o'clock. It's more comfortable here than outside. Outside is humid and hot.
下晝2鐘咧，請大家嚟呢度咧有冷氣舒服啲，出邊咧熱啲，希望大家能夠2鐘嚟呢個本堂咧去聽。
And it will be very interesting things because you've never heard anything like this before.
好講大聽，你會覺得好有趣味嘅，因為我擔保我英文今日講得係會好有趣味嘅。
We will work on the principle that Jesus is the best soul winner in the universe.
我哋會同大家分享耶穌基督係整個宇宙最叻、最行嘅、最好嘅呢個咧係呢個靈魂嘅拯救者。
Now, I almost forgot. I want to take a picture of you.
我差唔多同你啲嗰電話已經
Is that all right?
好唔好啊？影一張大家嘅相好唔好？
Would you smile for me?
你可唔可以笑下？
Huh?
笑下。
And two sides. I'm going to see which side has better smiles.
嗱，我哋睇下邊面笑得靚啲嚇。
Okay, this side.
呢邊先。
1, 2, 3.
啊
Okay, very good.
好啦，呢
Let's
邊
see.
咧，
This side.
呢邊咯喎，笑下比較下，係咪靚？笑得靚啲。
3. I think it's a tie.
啱啱打和喎，兩邊咧真係好睇啊！
Yeah. Well, thank you. Let's hear the word of the Lord this
好
morning.
啦，睇下上帝嘅説話，今日。
Service with a smile.
微笑嘅服侍。
Have you ever heard of Albert Schweitzer?
有冇聽過小孩子醫生啊？
Albert Schweitzer was a remarkable man in the 20th century.
喺20世紀嘅時候咧，小孩醫生咧係一個好出名嘅一個人嚟嘅。
He was a famous musician. He was an organist who played in some of the biggest places in Europe.
佢係一個好著名嘅醫生，亦都係一個玩一個風琴好叻嘅一個人。
He was also a famous theologian because he wrote some very important books.
佢亦都係一個好出名嘅神學家，因為寫好多好重要嘅書。
But he kept desiring to do more for God.
但佢決定更加繼續為神嘅工作。
And he realized that Africa needed a lot of help in terms of health.
佢知道非洲需要好多嘅幫助，特別響健康方面。
So after he was an expert in 2 careers, he decided to go into medicine.
所以當佢已經成功咗兩個好好嘅生涯之後咧，即然之後佢仲要決定一個新嘅生涯，
He became a doctor,
做一個醫生。
and then he went as a missionary to the central part of Africa.
佢哋用以醫生嘅身份去做一個咧傳道士。
And he did remarkable work there.
佢喺非洲做咗非常傑出嘅工作。
So much so that in 1952 he received the Nobel Peace Prize as a result of his work.
所以喺1952年咧，佢攞到諾貝爾和平獎。
But in 1949 he had a visit to the United States.
1949年佢哋去美國訪問。
And it was to a fairly small city in the center of the United States.
係一個美國中國一個非常細嘅城市。
So everybody felt very honored that Dr. Schweitzer was coming to visit.
咁而嗰個鎮上面嘅人好開心，因為咧史懷治醫生親身嚟到佢
All
個
the
鎮中，
city leaders were there.
所有成個鎮嘅人咧都聚集埋一齊。
There was a special band that was going to play for him.
咁有一隊樂隊咧係為佢演奏。
There were children were ready to welcome him.
咁有細路仔咧沿途咧係歡迎佢。
And practically the whole city was out at the train station waiting for Dr.
咁
Schweitzer
成個
to
鎮
come.
咧嘅人咧都去到火車站度去迎接史懷治醫生。
When he came, the band began to play.
當佢嚟嘅時候咧，嗰啲樂隊當然係演奏啦。
Everybody saw him because he was a very tall man, about 195 or so, and easily seen.
因為佢生好高，佢1.95高咧，所以過咗見到佢啦，好高大嗰個人。
And after he came, he noticed something because he could see above the heads of everybody.
因為佢高啊，所以佢可以望到啲嘢，望遠啲，所以望到啲嘢發生。
He noticed there was a black woman trying to get out of the train with big, heavy, several suitcases.
佢見到一個黑嘅女人咧，佢想落車攞好多嘅行李落車喎。
So he said to the city leaders, "Please excuse me."
所以佢同嗰度當時嘅鎮上面嘅領袖講：唔好意思，等等，我有啲嘢做。
And he made his way through the crowd until he met the lady and helped her with the large suitcases and walked her to the bus station where she needed to go.
佢哋一路穿過人群咧，去到呢個黑嘅婦人當中咧，佢幫佢攞行李，帶佢去到搭巴士。
This was 1949, and America was segregated at that time.
呢個喺1949年，當時美國咧仲係好似係種族分離咁樣分隔咁樣嘅。
So it caught everybody by surprise, his behavior.
所以
They didn't expect it.
所以佢嘅行為使到每個人都好驚訝，哇！都係咁做嗰個光發黑嘅女人。
That he would think that single woman was more worthy than all the honors that were prepared for him.
當時佢覺得幫呢個黑人做呢啲服務咧，佢仲多緊要過咧佢受到嘅其他人對佢嘅尊榮。
So as Dr. Schweitzer came back to the group, one of the city officials said to a journalist,
咁當佢翻去當中嘅時候咧，其中一個呢個鎮嘅領袖咧，就同一個記者咁樣講啦。
he said to him, "That's the first time I saw a sermon walking."
佢話呢個係我第一次見到一個活嘅見證講道。
You understand what that means?
明唔明點解啊？
I ask you, are you a sermon that walks?
我想問大家，你係咪一個活嘅見證？
In other words, is your Christianity real enough that it can be seen in tangible acts?
即係話問你每日嘅行為，
Or is your Christianity only talk but not walk?
你嘅每個行為見證，只係一個説，你對基督教嘅係一種講啊、宣講啊，定係一個行為一個見證嚟嘅咧？你嘅信仰。
Could other people assume that you're a Christian by watching you in the MTR?
當人喺地鐵裏面見到你嘅行為嘅時候，都知道你係一個基督徒咧。
Could other people assume you're a Christian by watching you shop?
當你去買嘢及嘅時候，佢可唔可以見到你係一個基督徒咧？
Or watching you drive?
見你開車嘅時候，會見到你係一個基督徒咧？
Are you a servant that walks?
你係咪一個活嘅行出嚟嘅講道咧？
I have worked for the Adventist Church for nearly 40 years, and I have been to over 60 countries.
我已經係讀40年，我係傳福音，我已經去過超過60個嘅國家地區。
And I have seen many churches.
我係去過好多唔同嘅教堂。
And I've concluded that service among Adventists is divided into 4 categories.
我同大家分享，我同福臨教會嘅服務咧分為4種。
First, there is a group of people who, when they need to serve, they cop out, they check out, they opt out of service.
第一種係逃避服務嘅人，
They don't want to do it.
佢哋唔想做喎。
Not because they don't really want to do it, but because they think they're too busy.
唔係話佢哋即係咩，因為佢覺得太忙啦，佢唔係好想做。
Now, you live in Hong Kong, you know a thing or two about being busy.
你係香港人，你已經知道咩叫忙碌。
What they are really saying is that they're too busy for other people because they're busy enough just for themselves.
香港人係對自己已經要做太多嘢，太忙啦，佢根本冇時間幫其他人做嘢，冇時間其他人。
Sometimes those people are some of the most talented people or some of the most educated people.
好多時候嗰啲係一啲最有學問、最有本事嘅人。
They say, "Oh, I'm too busy. I have too much work."
因為我太忙咧，好多嘢自己要做。
Those who cop out basically work only for themselves.
嗰啲逃避服務人咧，因為佢只係為咗自己工作。
And every Adventist church has a group like that in their
每一個福臨教會都有一班人係呢類咁嘅人。
The second group are those who think it out.
第二類人係佢係好成日諗啊，即係考慮下。
They're not opposed to serving and helping out, but they don't think they're equipped to do it.
佢係唔係話佢唔想做，佢係要自己有冇咁嘅能力去做，需要考慮下。
So they go to seminars all the time and training events all the time.
所以佢成日都去參加啲訓練班，去學下點傳福音服務。
They take a lot of notes.
佢哋寫好多嘅筆記。
but they're never quite ready to help because they don't think that they're ready, they're prepared.
佢哋但係唔係時時準備好去服務喎，因為佢覺得自己仲未預備好。
They want to do it perfectly, and since they cannot do it perfectly, they just don't do it.
因為佢哋覺得自己唔係好完美地去做咧，所以佢情願就做住先。
So those who think it out will only work if conditions are perfect, and conditions will never be perfect.
佢哋話：如果情況係完美嘅話咧，可能做得，但係情況就係永遠都唔完美，所以佢永遠都未準備好。
They say, "Oh, when I have more time."
當我多啲時間嘅時候，我都會做嘅。
Or when my children grow and leave the house.
當我啲細路仔大個離開屋企嘅時候，我有時間冇做嘅。
Or when I get more training.
當我有多啲訓練嘅時候
There will always be something that will be a challenge. So if you want to help, you need to help now, not later.
所以永遠嗰啲嘢仲未準備好嘅，所以如果你真係想去服務嘅話，你要而家就要做。
Every church has people like that.
每個教會都有咁嘅人。
The third group are people who burn out.
第三個人就佢哋已經係過勞啦，做得太多啦。
And they are the people that the pastor is thankful for. These are the workers.
咁而呢個係牧師佢哋要多謝嘅，因為咧佢係嗰啲工人嚟嘅。
And typically in every church, that means about 10 to 20, if you're lucky, 20% of the people doing all the work.
咁而如果幸運嘅話咧，一般嚟講呢組人咧就有10至20%，如果20%好幸運嘅。
In most churches, it's closer to 10% than 20%.
大部分教會都係10%人係過勞嘅啫。
If we didn't have these people, nothing would get done in the church.
如果冇呢類人嘅話咧，教會係冇辦法做任何嘅服務嘅嘢。
So most of them carry too much burden. They have this job and that job and this job and that job.
所以咧，嗰啲人咧，呢組人嚟嘅咩？佢哋有唔同嘅崗位侍奉嘅。
And they have a high sense of responsibility. They say, if nobody can do it, I'll do it.
而呢班人點乜就佢哋有好高嘅責任感。如果冇人做，我做啦。
But there's a problem with that.
係有問題喎。
The problem is that eventually they think they own that job.
搞下，你覺得呢份工作咧係我應份。
They think that nobody else knows how to do it as well as they can do it.
而咧其他人根本就冇資格，即係唔識點樣做，得我識點樣做。
And they begin to resent the people who sit in the pew but never really help.
咁開始佢就會對嗰啲冇做嘅嘢嘅人咧有啲怨言啦。
Those who burn out, and so they burn out, they get tired and they give up. Those who burn out try to do the work that others should be doing.
咁而咧慢慢呢班人咧就會係叫做咧係過勞咗之後咧，慢慢就會係冇人做咯喎。
And every church has those.
而每個教會都有一群咁嘅人。
But there's a fourth group.
但係有第四組人。
Those who reach out, naturally reach out.
但係有一班人咧，佢好自然地咧，中意同其他人。
These are people who never need to be asked to help.
而呢啲人佢係從來唔問，需要求人幫助嘅。
Because they have such a strong relationship with Christ that they immediately see the needs that where there is a need for help.
咁呢組人咧，佢就會同上帝好有好好嘅關係，所以見到周圍好自然，啲人需要嘅時候就會係願意接觸啲人，願意係去服務幫助啲其他人。
They consistently think of other people before they think of themselves.
佢哋常常都會諗下其他人嘅需要。
But they don't feel bad about that. They feel good about thinking about other people.
佢覺得為人設想係件好事，唔係件壞事。
They want to bless other people.
佢好想成為人哋嘅祝福。
They want to benefit other people.
佢想使人哋有好處。
Instead of saying, I want time for myself to do what I want, they say, what can I do to help somebody else?
佢哋問，哇！我要點為自己為自己嚟去努力咧？佢話我能夠幫其他人，可以點樣幫其他人反嚟？
Unfortunately, in most churches, that's a very small minority of people.
但好可惜，好多時候呢班人分少數。
But those who reach out really do so with a smile.
但呢班願意出外招其他人時，佢會係帶着微笑出去嘅。
They are happy people.
佢哋係快樂嘅人。
The pastor doesn't need to push them.
牧師係唔需要逼佢哋出去嘅。
They want to benefit others.
因為佢哋好想、好願意使到其他人得益。
They want to help.
佢哋好想去幫助有需要嘅人。
Well, let's see what that is like. Okay, I need that back.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Just move it back a little bit. Thank you.
分享少少。
Let's see Paul's experience about that in 2 Corinthians.
我哋睇下哥林多後書保羅經驗。
The Corinthian church was not a perfect church.
哥林多教會絕對唔係一個完美嘅教會啦。
They had a lot of problems.
有好多問題喎。
Big problems.
大問題。
And when we review the problems the Corinthians had, we feel good about ourselves because we never had that many
當
problems.
我哋見到哥林多教會有問題嘅時候咧，我哋講我哋教會咁差嘅。
In the Corinthian church, there was major divisions. Thank you. There were major divisions in the church.
佢教會有好大分別。
There was a skepticism of the apostles, of the leadership.
佢哋係好懷疑，對呢個使徒有懷疑。
There were people who were practicing sexual immorality that was even worse than the pagans.
佢哋有一啲好嘅性方面嘅嘢係比外邦人更差嘅。
Members didn't like each other, and they brought legal action against each other.
教會之間互相嘅憎恨，甚至去到訴訟添。
In the worship service, there was charismatic confusion, and everything was in disorder.
竟然佢喺崇拜裏面好多時候好混亂嘅。
And there was a misuse of gospel freedom. They didn't understand really what the gospel was about.
佢哋係將福音嘅自由咧係濫用咗。
And so, but Paul loved these people.
但係保羅愛呢班人。
Paul had founded this church.
保羅有份建立呢個教會。
And then a few years later, when he heard about some of these problems, he wrote a letter to them.
所以幾年之後聽到呢個有問題嘅時候，佢馬上寫一封信
And
俾教會。
he reminded them how much he had given up for them.
佢提醒佢哋，佢為咗呢個教會，佢曾經放棄咗幾多嘢。
If you have your Bibles, open it to 2 Corinthians chapter 6.
如果大家睇下聖經啊，哥林多後書第6章。
Now we're going to read some portions of this.
我哋會讀一部分嘅。
I want you to follow what's on the screen.
我想大家睇下呢個熒幕上面嘅。
Because we're going to skip a few things.
我哋會有地方我哋係冇講嘅。
Paul says, when we then, as workers together with him, also plead you not to receive the grace of God in vain.
我們與上一同工也勸你們不可白受他的恩典。
Given no offense in anything, that our ministry may not be blamed.
在餘下嘅時候，我應允咗你，在拯救日子係我幫助了你。
We commend ourselves as ministers of God in much patience, in tribulations, in needs and distresses, in stripes and imprisonment, in tumults, in labors.
我們不對任何事上妨礙任何人，免得這使命被人毀謗，反倒在各樣嘅事上表明自己係上帝嘅用人，就如在持久嘅忍耐、患難、困苦、艱難、鞭打、監禁當中失眠、驚惶。
In sleeplessness, in hunger, by purity, by knowledge, by long-suffering, by kindness, by the Holy Spirit, by sincere love, by the word of truth, by the power of God.
失言、飢餓、廉潔、知識、堅守、堅忍、恩慈、聖靈感化、無畏嘅愛心、真正言語神嘅大能。
By honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, by as dying And behold, we live as chastened and yet not killed, as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing.
藉著人以兵器在左在右，榮譽或羞辱，惡名或美名，我們似乎是誘惑人的，卻是誠實的；似乎不為人所知，卻是人所共知；似乎是死了，卻是活着；似乎受懲罰，卻冇被處死；似乎憂愁，卻冇喜樂。
As poor, yet making many rich, as having nothing yet possessing all things.
似乎貧窮，卻使許多人富足；似乎一無所有，咁樣樣都有。
Now think about what he's saying.
咁佢諗佢講乜嘢嗰度？
Have you ever given so much for somebody else as what you see Paul saying here he has given for the Corinthians?
你諗諗，你有冇為一啲嘢、一啲人犧牲咁多，好似保羅犧牲咁多嘢咧
Obviously, Paul really loved these people.
好明顯啦，保羅真係好愛哥林多教會。
Even though there were people with all kinds of problems.
雖然呢班人充滿好多嘅困難、好多問題。
Finally, he says in verse 11, O Corinthians, we have spoken openly to you. Our heart is wide open.
正如佢哥林多後書咁講，哥林多人啊，我們對你們口是誠實的，心是寬宏的。
We are genuine with you. We are telling you the truth.
我對大家係真誠嘅，我同大家講真話嘅。
We have suffered imprisonments for you. We have suffered hunger for you.
我為哥林多，我係受苦、坐監、受飢餓。
We have suffered torture for you.
我係被拷打。
We have become poor for you so that you can become rich.
我係為大家，即係保羅為哥林多，我係受貧窮，為只要大家滿富足。
We have had sorrow, yet rejoicing.
雖然我係憂愁，但係我係好快樂嘅。
How could he say that?
點解咁講咧？
How could somebody be in sorrow and yet rejoice?
點解人可以喺憂傷裏面，但佢係充滿喜樂咧？
That's what he said.
呢個係佢講嘅嘢嚟嘅喎。
How can you be in pain and yet smile?
你點能夠喺痛苦仍然能夠微笑咧？
That's what Paul is trying to convey.
所以保羅就想同佢分享呢啲信息。
Well, the reason is given in the previous chapter.
呢個原因係喺前一章所講嘅。
2 Corinthians 5, verses 13 to 15 give the answer.
林後2章5到11節講。
Listen to these words carefully.
睇下佢點樣講啦，保羅。好，如果我們邊狂 ，OK。
For if we are beside ourselves, it is for God. Or if we are sound mind, it is for you.
如果我們癲狂是為上帝，如果我們清醒是為你們。
What does that mean?
點解？
Well, it means what it says.
佢意思就係佢講嘅意思啦。
If you see that we're a little crazy, a little different, that is because of God, he says.
不過如果你見到我好似有啲傻傻地，係因為我係為咗上帝。
Because when people suffer, they're supposed to cry and they're supposed to complain.
因為當人受苦嘅時候，佢應該係痛苦，應該係哭泣嘅。
But you see us suffering and we have a smile on our faces.
但係雖然我受苦，我雖然憂傷，但係我卻係微笑。
We rejoice in spite of that.
我哋係喜樂嘅。
The reason for that is God.
個原因係因為上帝嘅原因。
And the second statement is, if we are of sound mind, it is for you. What does that mean?
當你覺得我係清醒嘅時候，我係為咗你哋嘅。
In other words, if we look normal, if we act normal, we're doing it for your sake.
如果你見到我哋做嘢嘅時候，我哋嘅行為係正常嘅時候，因為我係為咗你哋去做嘅。
So you don't think that we're that crazy.
所以咧，我覺得我係咁傻㗎嚇，我癲傻嘅。
This is very interesting.
好奇怪，香港。
The next verse gives us more on this.
一節講得更多。
Verse 14, for the love of Christ compels us, because we judge that if one died for all, then all died, and he died for all, so that those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them and rose again.
好，原來基督嘅愛激勵咗我哋。因為我哋咁樣斷定，一個人嘅替眾人死，眾人就死咗啦。並且他去眾人死，是叫那些活着嘅人不為自己活，乃是為他們死而復活嘅主。
So, Paul says the reason we are a little different, the reason we smile under pain, is because the love of Christ compels us.
即係話，當保羅話佢喺痛苦當中仍然微笑，係因為耶穌基督嘅緣故。
The word used in the original Greek there means an unstoppable moving force. It compels us. It pushes us through every barrier.
激勵呢個字嘅希臘原文係話一個詞係咩？一個永恆不變嘅動力，將佢向前推動去做一啲嘢。
What did you study for Sabbath school this week?
今個禮拜你嘅安息日學課係學咗乜嘢嘢
Does anybody remember?
邊個記得？
It was the conversion of Paul, right?
係保羅一個悔改，
Is that what you studied?
係咪學過呢啲嘢？
Ever since Paul was converted, he delved in the depths of the love of God. He understood more and more and more of the love of God.
當保羅悔改嘅時候，佢就全心全意去思考、去研究上帝嘅愛，佢越嚟越知道越多啦。
That's why the Holy Spirit used Paul to write half of the New Testament.
所以聖靈就用咗保羅寫咗新約一半嘅書信。
And Paul became the most important teacher in the early Christian church.
所以保羅成為早期教會嘅最重要嘅一位嘅老師。
Because Paul understood how everything worked, because Paul understood the love of God.
保羅知道佢嘅信係乜嘢，因為佢知道上帝嘅愛。
That's why we say we serve with a smile when we know we are loved.
所以我哋知道我哋應該，當我哋知道我哋被愛嘅時候，我哋知道如何去服侍啦。
When we know we are loved, it pushes us through like a mighty engine, like an icebreaker that is able to break incredible large pieces of ice.
當我哋知道我哋係被愛嘅時候，我哋就好似一個破冰船咁樣，充滿動力，能夠推開數以千萬噸嘅冰嘅阻力。
Nothing becomes impossible for the person who knows he is loved by God.
冇嘢能夠落難咗。如果一個人能夠知道自己係被上帝所愛嘅，冇嘢能夠難咗佢向前衝。
There was a Welsh man by the name of Evan Roberts whom God used to start a revival.
一個威爾斯嘅人，佢名叫做伊凡羅伯特。
That was 100 years ago.
100年前㗎啦。
And that was the last worldwide revival in history.
呢個係最後一次全球教會嘅大復興。
It affected all of North America, all of Europe.
呢個影響咗北美同埋歐洲大陸。
It affected Southern Africa, India, Australia.
影響咗南非，南非、印度。
It affected Korea and even China, the Christian portion of China.
甚至影響咗南韓同埋中國大陸。
The man was only 26 years old.
26歲啫。
But he had also understood the deep love of God for him.
因為佢知道上帝對佢嘅大愛。
He heard an evangelist say, God, bend us. We're too proud. Bend us. Humble us.
佢最出名嘅説話就話：上帝啊，求你使我降服。
He went to his own room and said, God, bend me.
佢去到佢房裏面常常禱告話：上帝，求你使我降服。
Later he wrote, I was filled with compassion for those who must bend at the judgment, and I wept. The salvation of the human soul was solemnly impressed upon me.
佢咁樣講，佢對嗰啲必須降服於審判嘅人充滿憐憫之情。我哭泣，人類嘅心靈嘅救贖莊嚴印在我身上。
I felt ablaze with a desire to go through the length and breadth of Wales to tell of the Savior, and had it been possible, I was willing to pay God for doing so.
我感到惶恐，我想把救主嘅信息帶到威爾斯每一個角落。如果可能嘅話，我願為上帝做呢件事。
When we think about God and money, most people want money from God.
當我哋擺喺面前上帝同錢嘅時候，我哋點知有兩個選擇？上帝，你幫我揾多啲錢啦。
They ask God for a better job so they can make more money, or they ask God for money so they can meet their bills, they can pay their bills.
所以我哋祈求上帝俾我哋揾一份好嘅工作，先揾多啲錢，使我哋可以將我哋嘅帳單嚟去歸還啊呢個還。
But this man was so overwhelmed by the love of God, he wanted to pay God to let him become a missionary.
而呢個年青人佢就求上帝，上帝啊，求你使用我，先可以還你嘅債，我可以為你而工作。
In other words, he said, I am willing to give you everything if you give me the chance to bless others.
所以佢就話：求上帝啊，求你，我可以做任何嘢，只要我成為你，透過我成為只要其他人祝福就可以啦。
Do you think that God was able to use a man like that?
你話上帝可唔可以用一位願意咁獻身嘅人呢？
The entire revival lasted about 10 years. It went worldwide, and it began with this one man.
而呢個復興運動咧，已經有10年嘅時間，就因為一位年青人願意將自己奉獻出嚟，為上帝去愛其他人。
He was compelled by the love of Christ.
上帝嘅愛激勵咗佢，去愛其他人。
Listen to what Ellen White says.
華師會點講咧
Listen carefully to what she says.
細心睇下華師會點樣講咧
She asked this question first.
佢咁問呢個問題。
Have you so deep an appreciation of the sacrifice made on Calvary that you're willing to make every other interest subordinate to the work of saving souls? 你是否對那在獨留地所作嘅犧牲如此深深地全心感激，以致甘願將所有其他嘅事物全注於救靈工作之下呢 What is she saying here? 佢講乜嘢啊 She's saying, have you understood the love of Christ at the cross so that you want to benefit other people above anything else in your life? 佢即係話你有冇深深明白到耶穌基督響逐流嘅十字架上面所做嘅犧牲呢種愛，使到我哋對救靈工作係擺響任何事件之上呢 And then she defines Christianity. Listen carefully. 佢點樣講基督教信仰乜嘢？She says the same intensity of desire to save sinners that marked the life of the Savior marks the life of a true follower. The Christian has no desire to live for self. 救主喺生活上面所表現嘅切望拯救罪嘅特徵，亦都係真正跟從佢他人嘅特徵。基督徒並冇為自己而活嘅願望。He delights to consecrate all that he has and is to the Master's service. 佢樂意奉自己一生所有嘅為主服務。He is moved, the Christian is moved by an inexpressible desire to win souls to Christ. 佢乃是受到一種難以形容嘅願望所感動，要得人歸向基督。It's a deep desire that comes from within. It doesn't come from outside. 呢種嘅願望係從內心深處發出，唔係因為出外邊而。So she defines the Christian as a natural, eager soul winner. 所以懷愛倫師母佢講基督教信仰係一種樂意、衷心樂意去救靈嘅工作。She doesn't define the Christian as somebody who goes to church once a week. 佢唔會話基督教信仰係只係每週去教堂一次。She doesn't define the Christian as somebody who has certain values that are different from the world. 佢唔係話基督教信仰係有種同世
世界上面任何其他嘅價值觀唔同。
She defines the Christian as those who will sacrifice whatever is necessary to reach out to others.
佢指明基督教信仰係一種用行動出面去接觸其他人，要將人得歸回基督。
Why would make that person a Christian?
點解你要想其他人都成為一個基督徒咧？
Because that's exactly what Christ did.
因為呢係耶穌基督所要嘅。
He forfeited everything to save the lost.
佢放棄一切，為要拯救失喪嘅人。
Listen to the last part of the statement.
睇下最後呢段話先嗰呢段説話。
Those who have nothing of this desire to reach out to others, might better be concerned for their own salvation. Let them pray for the spirit of service.
凡缺少呢種願望嘅人，最好還係關懷下自己得救問題。他們須為求得服務精神而禱告。
In other words, if it is not natural for you to want to reach out to others, you may not be a Christian when you think you are.
即係話，如果你冇一種自發、好自願嘅心，想去其他人都得救，呢個係最好諗下自己嘅問題。
You may need to really consider what is your relationship with Christ.
你已經諗下自己問題係基督徒，你同信仰關係如何
How do you get to know Jesus Christ?
你如何認識耶穌基督？
Do you get to know Jesus by coming to church?
你係咪淨係嚟到教會好似認識耶穌基督咧？
That might help,
呢個有啲幫助嘅，
but it's not enough.
但係唔夠。
Do you get to know Jesus by talking with friends about Jesus?
你係咪可以同朋友傾偈嘅時候，可以知道認識更多耶穌基督咧？
Or by regularly reading religious literature?
或者係睇下唔同嘅屬靈嘅書刊嗰時候，可以認識耶穌基督
That might help, but it's not enough.
呢個有幫助，但係唔夠。
You need to take time to know Jesus. Every day.
你需要每日花時間去認識耶穌基督。
You need to go to bed at night and pray, God, wake me up tomorrow morning so I can spend time just with you.
你需要每晚祈禱，求上帝求你，我聽日起身嘅時候，我能夠有時間同你一齊。
I used to challenge university students with this.
我常常係挑戰建議我學生咁樣做。
And I said, try it for 10 days.
你試下10日咁樣做。
Ask God sincerely to wake you up in the morning.
祈求上帝每日一早叫你起身。
And then when He wakes you up, He will wake you up. Take your Bible, read your Bible, pray, and try to connect with Him.
每朝早起身，你要起咗身之後，你要起到身嘅，你要求上帝同佢，你求佢喺讀聖經，求上帝同你同在。
Now, most university students like to go to bed late.
大部分嘅大學生好中意夜晚係好眼瞓，係好夜瞓覺嘅。
And they would get up as late as possible if they could.
而朝頭早咧係盡量係晏起身嘅。
And after I challenged my students, after a few days, they would say to me, Dr. Cluzet, I am waking up at 5:30 and 6 in the morning.
因為咧，當我係建議學生咁做嘅時候，祈禱嘅時候咧，我學生同我講，佢真係我話牧師教授，我真係每日特別5點幾6點都已經起咗身啦。
I never wake up this early.
本來我從來好少咁早起身嘅。
Not only that, I am alert and ready to go.
當我咁祈禱就每日我5點幾起身就好頭腦好清醒，同埋好容易就好有活力。
So I asked him, did you pray the night before for God to wake you up?
你有冇每一晚求上帝只要你能第二日早起身咧？
And they said, yes, but I really wasn't sure I was going to wake up.
當然啦，佢學生話我有，但係咧其實我都唔知係唔真係實得嘅。
And then I would say, well, God is faithful. He will do what He says He will do.
咁佢講就話上帝係信實嘅，你求佢一定俾你早起到身。
And where does this waking up in the morning come from? Is that in the Bible?
呢個每日早起係咪聖經所講嘅咧？
Of course it is. Isaiah 50, verse 4 and 5.
嗱，以賽亞書54咁講，真係咁講。
That's what Jesus claimed every morning. So he woke up because the Father woke him up, so he could spend time with the Father.
呢個就係耶穌基督佢求嘅，佢每日一早起身同天父一齊。
And you know what? You can do the same thing.
你都可以做同一樣嘢㗎。
And the more time you spend with Jesus, seeking to know him, the more real his love will be to you.
當你越用時間同耶穌一齊嘅時候，你會更加了解佢。
How many of you use an alarm clock or your phone or your watch to wake you up? How many?
有幾多人係用手機用鬧鐘叫你起身㗎？
There's no shame in this.
舉下手啦，如果冇問題
Yeah, that's normal.
正常啊。
Right. I haven't used an alarm clock in 35 years.
我呢35年冇用鬧鐘啦。
Not once in 35 years.
35年一次都冇用過。
Why?
點解？
Because that verse in Isaiah 50 actually works.
因為以賽亞書51節講，嗰個經文係真係有效嘅。
Two nights ago, the Lord woke me up at 3:30.
2晚之前咧，上帝響3點鐘叫醒我。
I usually would rather wake up at 4:30 or 5.
一般嚟講，我會4點半至5點起身嘅。
So I thought 3:30 was a little early.
3點半太早啦。
But I didn't complain.
我當然冇埋怨啦。
Because he knows exactly when he needs to wake me up.
因為我知道上帝會響最啱時間叫醒我。
And it proved that that was necessary because I needed more than 2 hours to spend with God that morning.
因為嗰日我需要超過2個鐘頭時間同上帝一齊。
Now, if you need 2 hours with Jesus one morning, you probably can't wake up at 6 to do that because then you're going to be late for work and everything else.
所以如果你需要2個鐘頭同上帝一齊嘅話，你可能你唔單止6點起身，因為6點加2、8點要返工，可能冇時間。
He knows exactly what you need.
上帝好清楚知道你需要幾多時間。
So test him on it.
嘗試下我哋嘅上帝。
Now, yesterday I had a very full day.
琴日全日。
And I couldn't go to bed until almost 11.
我要等到11點至有時間去瞓覺。
I like going to bed between 8:30 and 10.
我自己中意8點半至10點之間呢段時間瞓覺嘅。
Because that makes it easier to be really alert early in the morning.
因為咁樣可以使到我一早起身就精神飽滿啦。
But last night I asked the Lord, please do not wake me up at 3:30.
嗰晚我想瞓覺，所以我上帝唔好3點半叫醒我太早。
I think I'll be too tired.
我會太攰。
So please don't wake me up before 5:30.
最好5點半至叫我啦。
Let me sleep a couple more hours.
等我瞓耐少少。
You know what happened this morning?
你覺得點樣啊？真係。
I wake up, I look at my watch, and it's 5:35.
我起身，咁我發覺咧係5點35分，瞓咗
God must have said, you asked me not to wake you up before 5:30.
但係你叫我冇叫醒你嘛，咁我就過咗少少，5點35分佢。
The important thing is to take that time, sufficient time, to know who God is.
各位，重點係用嗰個時間認識上帝。
That was Paul's prayer for the Ephesians.
呢個係保羅為呢個腓立比人。
We don't have time this morning, and translation takes twice as much, but read it in Ephesians chapter 3.
呢個係喺腓立比3章所講啊，保羅叫佢為呢啲人祈禱。
Paul's prayer for the Ephesians.
保羅為腓立比人。
Starting with verse 14.
14節、34節。
And he prays that they may know the breadth and length and height and depth of the love of God.
希望佢哋能夠知道上帝愛嘅長闊高深。
That was his prayer for them.
呢個就係佢為佢哋禱告。
You know, we are faced with a very good opportunity here in this church.
我哋將會有個好好嘅機會，在香港教會。
You recognize anything in this picture?
見到呢個教會，見呢啲基督徒有咩覺得咩啊？有咩熟悉㗎？有
That's your church.
呢個就係我哋九龍教會啦，
That's your church.
我哋教會。
Wouldn't it be wonderful? I think it's wonderful to have the number of people we have this morning, but wouldn't it be wonderful to have twice as many?
今日見咁多位，好開心。嗱，如果係雙倍咁嘅人數，會更好咧。
I'm sure there was a time when this church was full.
我肯定
Years ago.
好多年前，呢個教會係坐滿人嘅。
Is it not full because people are not interested in God?
係咪今日我哋坐滿，係咪有啲人對上帝冇興趣咧？
According to Jesus, many more people are interested in God than we think.
但耶穌咁講，佢話咧有好多人對上帝更有興趣啊，多過我哋所思所想嘅。
The problem is we are not interested in it.
但係問題就係我哋根本唔想係咁樣。
So God only gives us the few that we might be interested in.
所以上帝只要俾我哋所想嘅。
But the more we recognize His great love for us, the more our hearts will expand and we'll say, more of you, come this way, come to know God.
所以當我哋越嚟越明白上帝愛嘅時候，我哋個心就會越嚟越廣闊嘅時候，我哋就可以希望更加多人可以得到我哋同樣嘅上帝愛。
It's all a matter of perspective. Either you see things from God's perspective or you see things from your perspective.
人睇嘢只有兩個可能性，一個係從上帝嘅角度睇，一個係從自己嘅角度睇。
Look at this picture.
睇下呢個圖啊！
How many of you have seen this picture before?
有幾多人睇過呢幅圖㗎？
Look at this picture carefully.
睇下呢幅圖有咩特別咧？
Some of you will be able to see a young woman with her face looking away and with a little necklace around her neck.
有人見一個美麗嘅少女，塊面咧係轉左邊，頸係帶條鏈嘅。
How many of you see that young woman?
邊個見到咁樣嘅少女
Okay, some of you do. Some of you will be able to see an older woman with a big nose looking down and thin lips.
咁有啲人會見到有一個老嘅婦人，大鼻嘅，個口係合埋，好似。
How many of you see her?
見到。
How many of you can see both now?
嗱，邊個可以兩睇到咧？幾好喎！
You see, it's a matter of perspective.
你會睇到兩個唔同嘅。
What angle are you looking through?
你用咩觀點
Is it your angle or is it God's angle?
你用上帝嘅觀點，上帝角度定係用你自己角度咧？
About 50 years ago, there was a book written called The Legend of Johnny Lingo.
咁咧喺50年前咧有一本書叫做咧《滑落奇緣》。
It's a story that took place in the South Pacific Islands.
喺南太平洋島上面。
And it's a story about children who grew up together in one of those islands.
就係講一班年青細路仔喺其中一個島上面長大嘅故事。
And it's about Johnny who had friends.
佢叫做 Johnny 啊，佢有好多朋友嘅。
And one of those friends was a girl who was difficult to get along with.
其中有個女仔係好難同其他人相處到嘅。
She had lost her mother when she was a little girl.
當佢好細嗰時候，佢已經媽媽係離世。
Her father didn't know how to be a good father.
爸爸唔知點做好嘅爸爸。
He didn't really love her. In fact, he dismissed her. He put her down. He treated her badly.
而呢位爸爸唔知點做好爸爸，甚至點解佢唔點處理佢，將佢有啲放棄呢個女兒。
So the girl grew up unloved, like no one loved her. Nobody cared for her.
呢個女仔佢嘅成長係冇人愛，佢又冇人理佢嘅。
And because of that, she fought with people all the time, and she was ugly and didn't take care of herself.
所以呢個女仔咧，佢長大之後咧，佢成日同人哋打交啦，唔理其他人一樣。
But one of the boys always treated her nicely.
但係竟然一個男仔對佢特別好嘅喎。
And that was Johnny.
呢個叫 Johnny 啦。
It seemed that Johnny didn't see the outside of the girl, he saw the inside, her heart.
佢唔係淨係見到呢個女仔嘅表面，佢睇呢個女仔嘅裏面嘅深處。
But at the age of 18, he left the island.
18歲Johnny離開呢個島。
And he worked hard with other people, and he came back 10 years later a rich man.
呢個 Johnny 佢就出面打工啦，去努力工作。10年之後咧，28歲佢就翻嚟佢呢個
At the age of 28, he had servants and he had employees under him.
28歲佢已經有工人啦，佢有夥計啦，跟住佢一齊。
Came back to the island to get married, to find a wife.
佢翻嚟呢個島裏面要揾個太太，佢要結婚。
Now, in that island, the way to negotiate for a wife was through how many. The value of a wife was based on cows, the number of cows you would pay for her.
因為佢呢個島嘅風俗係咩？就係娶老婆咧，用佢俾幾隻牛嚟聘禮咧，就證明呢個即係我哋做一個呢個新娘嘅代價啦價錢咁啦。
So a groom would negotiate with the father of the bride how many cows to give for his daughter.
所以嗰個新郎哥要同佢嗰個新娘嘅爸爸去討價還價，要俾幾隻牛係將佢個女娶過嚟。
Some women in the island were worth 1 cow.
有啲島上面嘅女仔值1隻牛。
Some women in the island were worth 2 cows.
有啲係值2隻牛。
Some were even worth 3 cows, even for 1 or 2 of them, 4 cows.
有啲係值3隻牛，有啲甚至好少少就係值4隻牛添。
They were considered remarkable women.
咁佢呢啲係啲好傑出。
And they didn't let anyone forget, I am a 4-cow woman.
咁啊，啲女仔成日都有人講，我值4隻牛嘅咁樣啊，我係4牛女咁啊。
Now, the father of the girl Johnny wanted to marry, he didn't think his daughter was worth much of anything.
但係 Johnny 想娶呢個女仔，嗰個女仔咧，因為咧佢1隻牛都唔值嘅，冇牛女。
He was hoping that Johnny would give him a little calf, at least a little calf.
佢話咧嗱，佢就好希望 Johnny 你娶我女都好，係希望你俾隻小牛讀我咧細牛仔，我先開心啦。
But Johnny didn't think that way of his daughter.
但係 Johnny 從來佢唔係覺得佢將要結婚嘅太太係咁冇價值嘅。
And when he came to negotiate with the father, he came with 8 cows.
咁而佢又話經常佢俾8隻牛。
8 cows.
8隻牛，8牛女。
That's double the amount of the most valued women in the entire island.
8隻牛係呢個島上面最叻嘅女仔，一直射入去2倍。
That would be the envy of all women for the rest of the history of the island.
而咁樣會使到呢個島上面所有嘅女仔，從今以後都會好妒忌有8牛女出現嘅。
What did Johnny see in this woman?
Johnny 而家睇呢個女仔睇到啲乜嘢？佢要俾8隻牛咁多咧？
So he married her.
佢娶咗佢。
She was ugly.
呢個女仔唔靚。
She didn't have friends.
佢冇朋友。
She had a bad temper.
佢脾氣大。
She was not very skillful about doing anything.
佢做任何嘢都唔係好叻嘅。
But over the next few years, she changed.
但係幾年之後，佢改變過來。
She developed a good personality.
佢嚴肅咗。
People began to become friends with her.
佢朋友多咗。
She became skillful at many things.
佢各方面嘅技能都好咗。
And even her appearance changed so that she became a beautiful, beautiful woman.
而佢嘅外形都一天比一天美麗。
Why?
為什麼呢？
The legend said because one man truly loved her.
呢個緣分使到佢改變過，佢揾到真愛。
And that's how love works.
呢個就係真愛嘅奇妙嘅功能。
The problem is most Christians don't even know the love of God.
各位，如果我哋每一個能夠知道上帝嘅真愛嘅話，
So it's a struggle.
有時候係好掙扎嘅。
If they only knew how much God thinks of them.
究竟上帝對我哋幾重視？
What God can do for them.
上帝能夠為我做幾多
What
嘢？
God will do through them.
上帝能夠透過我做幾多嘢咧？
Oh, then you would get up early in the morning and eagerly spend time with Him, with His Word, on your knees.
你就會每日能夠起早身，能夠跪在佢嘅面前，透過聖經更加了解佢哋。
We serve with a smile when we know we are loved.
當我哋知道我哋被愛嘅時候，被神愛充滿嘅時候，我哋就能夠帶着微笑出。
So this is how Paul ends this story.
所以保羅咁講。
Look at verse 16. Therefore, from now on, we recognize no one according to the flesh, even though we have known Christ according to the flesh, yet now we know Him thus no longer.
所以從今以後，我們不再按照人嘅學問認識人。縱使我哋曾經按照人嘅學問認識基督，如今卻不再咁樣認識佢啦。
What is he saying here?
佢講乜嘢啊？保羅
Just like Johnny Lingo, we are not looking at people on their appearance. We look at the heart. We see what's inside.
我哋就好似Johnny Lingo 咁樣，睇人都睇外表，睇人嘅內心深處。
We value people based on how much God loves them, not based on who they appear to be.
我哋對人嘅睇法應該係建基於上帝究竟有幾愛呢個人。
And he continues to say, therefore, verse 17, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new.
正如保羅喺林後咁樣講，佢話所以有人在基裏，他就新造人，舊事已過，都變成新的了。
That's what happened with Paul. He fell in love with people all of a sudden, when before all he could do was hate people and imprison people and put people down.
呢個係保羅嘅經歷。當佢知道耶穌愛佢嘅時候，佢改變過嚟，佢本來好憎恨其他人嘅，但係佢馬上變成一個愛其他人嘅人。
Let me close with this story.
我哋
A number of years ago, there was a civil war in Somalia.
好幾年前喺索馬利亞一個悲劇，
And it was terrible. A lot of people died.
好可怕，好多人死咗。
There were a lot of orphans whose parents had been killed in the war.
有好多嘅孤兒，佢嘅父母係喺戰爭中被殺。
And nobody was taking care of these orphans.
冇乜人理會呢啲孤兒。
And they were literally starving to death.
佢哋真係咧係由飢餓而死。
An average of 3,000 of them died every day
每日有3000個兒童咧係死亡。
throughout the country.
成個國家索馬利亞
300,000 in a short period of time died of malnutrition.
30萬人由於營養不良而死去。
There was a Western journalist who was covering the tragedy.
有個西方記者報導呢件事，
And he saw two little boys, two brothers.
佢見到兩個細路仔，兩位兄弟，
And they were, with their big bellies, they were starving to death. They were very, very sick.
佢哋嘅肚腹係脹大咗，佢哋係嚴重嘅有病。
They didn't even have the strength to raise their hands to ask for food.
佢哋甚至冇力舉起嘅手攞要求食物。
So the journalist had a grapefruit in his pocket.
呢個記者佢有好多食物喺袋裏面，
So he took the grapefruit and peeled it and gave it to the older boy.
佢將呢個食物搣開，俾個大啲嗰個哥。
You would expect that older boy immediately sink his teeth into it and desperately eat it.
你要認為個大哥會馬上得落口裏面食咧？
But that's not what happened.
但唔係咁樣喎。
He wrote, the older brother kneeled down next to his younger brother, bit off a piece of the grapefruit and chewed it.
呢個哥哥跪咗佢個弟弟旁邊，咬咗一塊西柚，咀嚼咗一下。
Then he opened his younger brother's mouth, put the grapefruit in, and worked his brother's jaw up and down.
佢係然後都係幫佢打開佢細佬嘅個口，將呢個西柚塞落去，幫佢咬咁樣俾佢塞落去。
And then he said, a couple of days later, the older brother died of malnutrition, and the younger brother lived.
幾日之後咧，個哥哥又不能死去啦，個細佬 係存活過來。
What would make a young boy resist every desire to eat?
有乜嘢係使到呢個哥佢可以唔係搏命自己過嚟食嗰個嘢？
He's starving to death.
佢已經餓到就要死啦。
Normally, he would eagerly eat that grapefruit.
正常嚟講，佢會自己一個人獨吞食晒呢個西柚。
There was something even bigger than hunger for that boy.
因為有啲嘢比飢餓更大。
That was his love for his little brother.
就係呢個就係佢對佢細佬嘅愛。
And his love for his little brother made him willingly sacrifice whatever was needed for the sake of that boy.
佢對細佬嘅愛，使到佢能夠為佢嘅細佬犧牲。
This is what Paul is saying makes a Christian.
呢個就係保羅所講嘅。
The love of God then is displayed as we love others.
呢個保羅講啊，呢種愛就使到我哋成為基督徒，能夠彰顯在人當
But
中。
it's impossible to love others unless you know the love of God.
如果你唔明白了解上帝愛，你係冇可能愛其他人。
And for that, you need to get up every morning and read your word and spend time on your knees and talk with the God who loves you.
為此，我哋每日要起身，跪在上帝面前，喺上帝嘅話語中了解上帝對我哋嘅愛。
Here are the last words of Paul.
好耐最後説話講。
Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God were pleading through us, be reconciled to God.
所以我們作基督嘅特使，使好像上帝藉著我們勸你們一樣，我們替基督求你們與上帝和好啦。
We are ambassadors of His love as we love others.
我哋係上帝嘅愛嘅特使。
As we spend time with others, make sacrifices for the sake of others.
當我哋同其他人服務嘅時候，我哋為佢人哋犧牲嘅時候，我哋有追上帝愛。
As we do so willingly, naturally, because we desire that.
因為我哋做呢個時候，我哋係好自願嘅、甘心嘅、甘心樂意服侍，因為我哋愛。
We serve with a smile.
我們帶着微笑去服務。
When we know we are.
因為我哋知道我哋係被愛嘅一群。
God bless you.
請祝大家。